Hello everyone, I'm K-Swope, and we have a very exciting video ahead of us. What's going on is last week the Superman trailer dropped, which was phenomenal by the way. I regret not doing a video about it, but I figured hopefully this will make up for it. But as a result, I thought it was fantastic. Some people did not. A lot of those people being Zack Snyder fans. And now I figured, you know what we're going to do? We're going to look at some of these tweets or posts on X, as they're known as nowadays. We're going to look at some. I'm going to talk about them, and I'm sort of going to give a rebuttal. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So settle on in, grab a cup of something warm, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and read the first tweet we see. This was a reply to the trailer. Most of these are replies to the trailer. This guy says, Superman, IMO, whatever the heck that stands for, hasn't finished the story of the other one. I was ready for a Darkseid fight. With that existing, I have no interest in starting a new one. Why invest in this one? You pulled the rug out from under us from ever getting a conclusion with the previous one. That one, I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to read because there's a lot of errors there. But here's basically what this guy's saying. Why invest in a new Superman movie when they haven't concluded the old ones in the old series? Well, there's a really simple solution to that, and that is just move on like it's a reboot. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, obviously there were some troubles with the old one, with, you know, the Snyderverse and everything like that, because that ended on a really sour note. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing a new one, because I am very hopeful, very optimistic that this movie is going to be hopefully good. We'll have to see. I think it's worth investing your time in, because I think we're going to see this story to completion to some extent. I also know this is supposed to be a standalone film. We're not trying to piggyback any other films on it. We're not trying to set up any films specifically in this one. I'm sure there's going to be things in this movie that are going to be referred to in later films, but I don't think they're intentionally trying to set up any of the extra heroes or anything like that, or any of the villains maybe. I'm not sure. If they do circle back to it, that'll be great, but I think from a filmmaking perspective, if they want to make a really good movie, they need to focus on what they have here and now, and not worry about setting things up. And from everything that James Gunn has said, it sounds like that's what he's trying to do. And so I'm optimistic that that's what we're going to see here. So again, I think it's worth your time. I know they didn't conclude things the way you wanted to in the Snyderverse. It's kind of disappointing that they ended it shorter than they needed to, but I mean, I can go into all kinds of things because it's Warner Brothers who screwed Zack Snyder over, because I personally, I'm not going to rip on the Snyder guys a lot, because I would consider myself one of them. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think it was a masterpiece. I absolutely loved it. Thought it was fantastic. But I will say, I will admit that there's definitely some tension there. I don't like that they rebooted things so much, and I think Zack Snyder had some really good ideas that he never got to fully execute. This fine, distinguished gentleman says, how do we go from Man of Steel to Crypto the Dog? Bruh, wow, hard pass, no thank you. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with this, honestly, because if you ask me, it's nothing but a good thing that we're going from Man of Steel to Crypto, because Man of Steel was a very interesting, unique take on Superman. But because it was a unique take on Superman, it was not necessarily a true to form take on Superman. That being said, you see Crypto in this, and I think that's a great addition because, you know, everyone loves Crypto. No one hates Crypto the Superdog. At least no one should, because, you know, he's great. But either way, I mean, Zack Snyder's stuff was so dark and edgy, and I think what we need right now is we need a movie that's going to make us feel more hopeful, and Superman is the best character to do that, because Superman is quite literally a catalyst for that kind of ideology, right? He stands for hope, or more specifically, truth, justice, and the American way. So, that being said, I think we need more of that right now in society than we do the dark, gritty, Zack Snyder kind of stuff. Now, this guy, he says, this might look really good if you've never seen Man of Steel. And I'm not going to lie, so to prepare for this today, I actually went back and rewatched Man of Steel, so it's really fresh in my mind right now. And something that I don't think I ever really registered to me in Man of Steel is it's a little on the boring side, and it's really bland. The coloring is kind of meh, but he says this might look really good if you've never seen Man of Steel. I've seen Man of Steel more than once, and I can tell you that this still looks really good. This movie looks more of a Superman movie than Man of Steel was, honestly. And again, I don't want to talk smack on anything Zack Snyder did or Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill was amazing, by the way. I think we can all agree on that. But either way, I saw this trailer and I thought, this looks great. It's going to be a more true-to-form take on Superman. It's going to help us establish the direction that DC is going in, and I'm very, very excited for it, and I think they set the right tone for Superman. They do not need to make all superheroes Batman, and that's kind of what was going on back in like the 2000s, because they had the Dark Knight trilogy, which was fantastic, and then every other superhero they tried to make all dark and gritty and brooding because that was the tone that was set for then. And I think that this is not going for that tone, and that's a great thing, because we don't need another Man of Steel. We had Man of Steel already. Let's make a new Superman story, and that is exactly what they're going for here, and I think it is going to be fantastic. If I have not said that like 5 times already. This guy says, too much CGI, too many space lasers, Marvel presents Superman. Thinking to myself, dude, have you seen a superhero movie? I mean, every superhero movie, not just Marvel, has that, okay? It's just kind of run-of-the-mill at this point. So, I don't know what he's complaining about. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, this guy says, give us back Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill. This trailer is really the worst thing I saw for big 2025 movies. And I saw the How to Train Your Dragon LA trailer. He means live action, by the way. I didn't figure that out, too. It took me too long. Too much things happen in a single movie. The SM costume looks like a Temu one. Luthor looks like Eric Juder? Never heard of it. And Crypto? So, here's the thing. There's been a lot of criticism on the Superman suit, and I have some opinions on that. For one, I really love the design, okay? I think the design looks beautiful. However, I do have some criticisms. That being, I do agree with people saying it looks too baggy, so I can give that criticism where criticism is due. But the design itself looks really nice. They could make it a little tighter. I think they could show a little more muscle on the suit. That would be really nice. Other than that, I can't really complain too much. I think the suit is beautiful. The color on it is absolutely fantastic. They keep the classic Superman trunks, which I think are great, and it feels Superman. It's like, this is the most Superman we've seen Superman in a really, really long time. And so other than the fact that it's kind of baggy and it doesn't look like it fits maybe the way it probably should, then I would say the suit is perfect. So it's just a little short than perfect, but it's still fantastic. So gotta say that. Now, I will say, for the first criticism, being this is the worst trailer he's seen for 2025, I have not seen the How to Train Your Dragon trailer yet, the live-action one, mainly because I just don't really care for that movie, and so the fact that they're making a live-action version, I'm just kind of like, whatever. One valid criticism, though, I will say that this guy has, is a lot going on in the trailer and in the movie. And talking to my friends after this trailer debuted, I've heard at least 2 of my friends say that same thing. And so I've been thinking about it, and I think there is potential. I understand some skepticism about that, because I would also be very skeptic about that as well. However, I'm kind of hopeful, because with everything that I've been hearing about it, with what James Gunn said he's doing, what I really think is going to happen is in this movie, they're going to be presenting Superman as what he is, as a symbol and an icon, what he stands for. Okay, I kind of alluded to that earlier. Truth, justice, the American way. And I think what they're going to do is they're introducing all of these characters in order to introduce ideas that contrast and interact with Superman. So that being said, we see the Justice League International, I believe it is. What I believe is going to happen is they are funded and everything by Simon Stagg, okay? And I'm sure Simon Stagg is going to be buddies with Lex Luthor. And so basically, Superman, as a free agent, is going to have to contest with these bought and paid for Justice League members who are not investigating the threat that is Lex Luthor in this movie. I'm assuming he's the main villain. I haven't seen any other villains other than the giant kaiju thing that make me think otherwise. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think that's going to be one idea, and I think that's what they're there for. This is not an origin story movie. They're not fleshing out all of these characters entirely. Because we got Guy Gardner, we have Metamorpho, we have Hawkgirl, and we have Mr. Terrific. I sincerely believe that we are not going to be diving too deep into any 4 of these characters, as much as they're going to be there to be allies / opposition to Superman at different points in the movie is what I believe. But they're going to be functioning as a team, whereas Superman's going to be functioning as a person. They got Crypto in it. I don't think Crypto is going to play into the plot that much. I think he's just going to be more of a side character that's there fighting along Superman at his disposal. So I wouldn't be worried too much about that. I will say I'm not a big fan of Nicholas Hoult. He's alright. I've seen him in a handful of stuff. He was in The Menu in the X-Men franchise. I think that was mostly all I've seen him in. But yeah, I mean, he's he's okay. I just wouldn't consider myself a big fan of him. I just see him in something and I'm just kind of like, eh. He's got one of those very punchable faces, like him and Austin Butler for some reason. Like, for some reason, I have just a slight urge to just punch him in the face. And I can't explain why, because I'm sure they're really great, nice people. But it's a strange urge I have. And we got this guy, okay? This guy. Okay. He says, after seeing this trailer, I realized that Zack Snyder made the perfect Superman. No one wants a child-friendly Superman. DC is meant to be dark, gritty, and gore. Marvel is more suitable for the kids. Can you believe this? I mean, has he ever read a Superman comic? Has he ever, like, looked at any Superman media at all? Has he ever watched the original Christopher Reeve Superman movie? Like, Superman is the people's superhero, okay? He is, like, the beacon for everything, you know, like that. You know, he loves helping kids. He's like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, right, in Marvel. He's basically that in DC, okay? He's the one who helps old ladies cross the street, okay? He does that kind of stuff in his free time when he's not fighting villains, okay? Like, Superman is an icon, okay? That's what he does. Zack Snyder's Superman was not perfect. I'm sure this Superman is not going to be perfect either. Christopher Reeve's Superman wasn't even perfect, okay? Because there's never going to be a perfect Superman. Because Superman is what he is in the comics. Superman is not this dark and brooding character that you think he should be. Because that's not it at all. Again, Batman? Yeah, sure. But Superman? No. And I think you can have those versions of Superman. Like Zack Snyder did do his version of Superman. I don't think that was a bad version of Superman. But it was not a true-to-form version of Superman like we're seeing here, okay? So, again, I'm not trying to bust on Zack Snyder's Superman or anything like that, okay? That's what I'm going to read is this, okay? I think this guy puts it really good, and that way we're not leaving things on a negative note. But, to the non-trolls who are genuinely looking forward to this film, who genuinely believe this trailer promises an amazing cinematic experience and a strong start to a new era of DC live action, I genuinely wish you all the best. I'm a fan of Zack Snyder and his vision for these characters. I believe he raised the bar to a height that speaks for itself. And no matter how much half-baked noise is generated online by soulless clickbait bloggers, narcissistic NPCs, and 2-year-olds with usernames no one who have ever touched an inch of grass in their entire miserable lives, the echoes of his creative genius continue to reverberate through the entire franchise. So yes, I'm a fan, but I have also done my best to keep an open mind. A lot of the online drama is Mandarin to me. I just like good stories that actually have something to say, and looking at this trailer as objectively as I cannot say I am personally impressed. I see a trailer that says nothing new, does nothing new, promises nothing new, and looks cheaper than any deliverable of a project this expensive has a right to. I see safe, derivative, HR-approved ad footage, except I've seen more cinematic ads. If you think it's great, though, awesome. More power to your artistic taste. Really, I hope you real Superman fans have a wonderful time in the theaters, and do see it in the theaters. The bright, hopeful, humorous antidote to the unforgivable sin of Zack Snyder DCU is counting on it. Please just once surprise us Snyder cultists and actually put your money where your keypads are and make this one a banger. Rooting for you. Hashtag Superman movie. Yeah, so I don't agree with this guy. I think he's being very respectful here, and I appreciate that a lot. What I see, and this is kind of what I see in it, and I've been saying this the whole time, we're really seeing Superman at his best in terms of what he represents, I think, is what is going on in this movie. So, it's not that it looks like it's going to be Citizen Kane, as I compare a movie to Citizen Kane. It's not going to be Citizen Kane, but I think it's definitely still going to be worth the time and energy and the money. And I know, I agree with this guy 100%. If we like it, we need to go see it in theaters. We need to support it with our money, because this is very important, okay? If you like something, if you like a movie franchise, okay, you need to support it with your dollar, okay? Because we live in a capitalist country, a capitalist society, okay? Your dollars and how you spend them is how you vote, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. We have democracy. That's fantastic. We voted for presidents and all kinds of other people in government. But if you want to support things culturally, you vote with your dollars. Therefore, if you guys want to see this movie as much as I do, go see it in theaters. If you really enjoyed it, go see it multiple times in theaters. If you wanted to support it, maybe you didn't like it afterwards, that's fine. You don't need to see it again. That's a-okay. But nothing is going to change people's minds on this thing more than how we choose to support it with our money. If you go and look at what Sony's been doing with the Marvel villain universe or whatever, with their Spider-Man characters and stuff like that, basically it's crashed and burned. Why is it crashed and burned? Well, it's because no one wants to see those movies because, for one, they're not that interesting a premise usually, except for Venom maybe. But also, they're making really obscure characters that no one really cares that much about, and the movies are mediocre anyways. So of course we're not going to see that. That's why they're shutting things down. So DC, if you guys want to see what Zack Snyder has in store, you want to see what he has with this movie, I think it's going to be really good. I'm going to agree with this guy, and I'm going to encourage you guys to go see it in theaters. If society does not want a Superman like this in this tone, then don't see it, and then hey, maybe, you know what, we'll get rebooted again and we'll get a more Zack Snyder-esque Superman. Maybe they'll bring back Henry Cavill again. I don't know. But either way, I think if you guys want to see this movie, go see it. I have a lot of faith in James Gunn and what he's going to do with this DC franchise, and so I plan on seeing it in theaters day one, getting a review out, of course, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Coming up here in July. This would probably be a good time also to shout out to you guys that I do intend building up to the Superman premiere. I do plan on covering every Superman film, big film, of course. So we're going to start with Christopher Reeve. We're going to work the whole way through that franchise, and then, of course, we'll do probably Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, stuff like that, building up to the movie. So that's basically my opinions. Thank you guys all for entertaining me as I went through these comments. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, me talk about more movies, more reviews, things of that nature, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to comment if you have anything to include here. I know this is a very discussion-based video, and I'm kind of replying to other people's X posts that I'm seeing here. So make sure you guys leave me a comment, see if you have anything else you want to say about that. I will gladly entertain anything you guys have opinion-wise or anything like that. So definitely reach out. I'm glad to read your comments. If you liked the video, drop a thumbs up. If you hated it, drop a thumbs down. I'm cool either way. No publicity is bad publicity. But yeah, so again, thank you guys very much for watching. If you want to follow me on X, by the way, go ahead and do that. It's at @kswope_. So you can definitely follow me there. I don't post on there a whole lot, but I am on there a lot. So I'll definitely be commenting here and there. I'm trying to boost my own social media presence a little bit. So if you want to follow me, hey, that's great. Maybe that'll encourage me to post more on there. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.